Twitter users have asserted that a haunting voicemail they received might be connected to various phenomena, such as the disappearance of a passenger aeroplane, extraterrestrial existence, or an approaching doomsday. In this voicemail, a voice delivers a pre-recorded message using the phonetic alphabet. Some individuals have suggested that the numerical values represent a series of coordinates. According to their assertion, inputting these coordinates into Google Maps directs to specific locations, a spot in Africa and another close to Malaysia. Upon examination by numerous users, it was observed that the location mentioned in the voicemail was remarkably proximate to the spot where a famous airline's flight disappeared from radar surveillance. This close proximity led to theories suggesting that the voicemail might actually be a recording capturing the ill-fated aircraft's potential interaction with an advanced spacecraft. The initial social media post seems to have kicked off with Ty, a regular Twitter individual without any obvious pre-existing fascination with mysteries. On the 13th of March, Ty shared a recorded voicemail that was left on his phone and requested assistance in deciphering its contents. The voicemail reads, "Danger. SOS. It is dire for you to evacuate. Be cautious. They are not human." This act sparked curiosity and collaboration among his audience to decode the message accurately. In a widely shared post that has now been deleted, many raised questions and expressed their disbelief. Oddly enough, shortly after this, it was revealed that Ty vanished, and since this announcement, he hasn't made a post on social media and his account has since been hacked. On top of this, when you put the coordinates into Google, a mysterious website shows up. In the middle of the screen is the phonetic alphabet that reads, "You have now been added." Upon Ty sharing the content of the voicemail he had received, he then received a text message from a mysterious individual based in Indonesia. Oddly enough, upon translating the contents of the message, it revealed the following: "End the post you just shared about the recording on your phone." Ty proceeded to elaborate on his astonishment, expressing his complete perplexity regarding how this particular phone number had obtained his contact details. Furthermore, he was equally baffled by the fact that they seemed to possess information about his Twitter account. He revealed that he received this mysterious text message just moments after tweeting about the strange voicemail.
Sierra, Delta, Alpha, November, Golf, Echo, Romeo, Sierra, Oscar, Sierra. India, Tango, India, Sierra, Delta, India, Romeo, Echo, Foxtrot, Oscar, Romeo, Yankee, Oscar, Uniform, Tango, Oscar, Echo, Victor, Alpha, Charlie, Uniform, Alpha, Tango, Echo, Bravo, Echo, Charlie, Alpha, Uniform, Tango, India, Oscar, Uniform, Sierra, Tango, Hotel, Echo, Yankee, Alpha, Romeo, Echo, November, Oscar, Tango, Hotel, Uniform, Mike, Alpha, November, 042933964230, Sierra, Oscar, Sierra, Delta, Alpha, November, Golf, Echo, Romeo, Sierra, Oscar, Sierra.
Several nights prior to the commencement of the messages, Ty shared an unsettling incident on social media. He recounted an unusual occurrence where an unfamiliar individual drove past his residence late at night, specifically at 3 a.m, and proceeded to capture photographs using a flash. This eerie event raised concerns and garnered attention from his followers and friends. In his current understanding, he holds the belief that there is a connection between the individual carrying the camera and both the voicemail and direct messages that he has recently received. Ever since his social media post gained immense popularity, causing a surge of supernatural discussions and investigations on Twitter, numerous equally disturbed users have stepped up to share that they too have encountered the mysterious message. This widespread phenomenon has triggered a profound exploration into the realm of unexplained occurrences, prompting a deep dive into the nature of these eerie communications and their implications. Another user received the same automated voicemail as Ty. This man said that this encounter with an automated voicemail really affected him. The cryptic message, laden with urgency and foreboding, spoke of danger. The message was an SOS signal and a chilling warning which revealed that they are not human. It was an ordinary day like any other, when the man checked his voicemail and stumbled upon a message that would forever alter the course of his life. The voice, cold and mechanical, spoke with an urgency that sent shivers down his spine. Danger. SOS. It is dire for you to evacuate. Be cautious. They are not human. Bewildered and unnerved by the cryptic warning, the man's mind raced with questions. He quickly shared the message to social media, where people couldn't explain what was happening. Haunted by the ominous voicemail, he said that he wanted to get to the bottom of what it meant, saying that he was determined to unravel the mystery that had gripped his imagination. He scoured the internet for clues, delving into theories and urban legends in search of any semblance of truth. Yet, amidst the sea of speculation and conjecture, he found no concrete answers, only more questions and uncertainty. The only thing that was coming up was a location in Malaysia, with others saying that perhaps the voicemail was sent out by someone from this location. As the voicemail continued, the sense of unease only grew, with some recipients reporting feelings of dread and paranoia that lingered long after the message ended. Attempts to trace the origin of the transmission led to a dead end, with no clear explanation for its sudden appearance or purpose. Using advanced tracing techniques and digital footprints and Google Earth, online users said that they were able to trace the origin of the transmission to an obscure location in Malaysia. The discovery only served to deepen the mystery, as questions arose about who or what could be responsible for the transmission and what their intentions might be. Speculation ran rampant, with theories ranging from government experiments to extraterrestrial communications, but no definitive answers could be found. Yet, despite the widespread attention it garnered, the origins of the creepy automated voicemail remained shrouded in mystery, leaving many questions unanswered and minds unsettled.
Sir Victor Godard and the Time Slip. The skies are a wondrous place, and ever since man evolved, we've dreamt of being able to fly. Of course, this is now possible, and thanks to the technological advancements in aircraft, being able to fly has meant that human eyes have seen things that we should not necessarily have seen. If you've ever been to Scotland, you'll know that its impressive landscapes and sprawling greenery can be extremely relaxing and very picturesque to fly over. But for one man in 1935, his routine flight over the Highlands became a little strange. Wing Commander Victor Godard was conducting a routine aerial inspection of a disused World War I Air Force base at Drem near East Lothian. The base, which was dilapidated and had not been used for years, appeared to be being used as a farm. A day or two later, Godard flew back towards his own base. It was a grey and rainy Monday, with low visibility and high winds, completely the wrong conditions for a pleasant flight, as you can imagine. He attempted to navigate towards Drem, but couldn't work out where to fly, given the conditions. Suddenly, Godard lost complete control of his plane. It plummeted towards Earth through the thick grey cloud, which offered no brakes. As he reached 200 feet, he was certain it was over. But it wasn't. Godard reported seeing swirling water and a stony beach and was flying near 150 miles an hour. Drem's hangars appeared as a silhouette in the bleakness of the afternoon, and as he approached the airfield, the skies brightened completely. As he flew nearer, he noticed a distinct difference in Drem's appearance. The airfield was freshly tarmacked, the hangars restored, and 4 bright yellow aircraft sat on the stand. One model of aircraft he didn't recognize, a monoplane of a new variation with RAF markings. Strangely, in 1935, the RAF had no monoplanes, not even for training purposes. There were men working on the ground wearing light blue overalls, which was also strange as the mechanics that Godard was used to seeing normally wore tan grey. Nobody seemed to notice Godard's plane flying low over the airfield, and as he pulled his joystick backwards and powered back into the skies, the grey skies and ray returned. Soon he was near his intended destination and landed, dazed. Godard tried to comprehend what he'd seen, but simply couldn't. His colleagues thought he was either drunk or mad, and he stopped telling his story. However, 4 years later, the airbase at Drem would be refurbished. The RAF uniforms would change to light blue, and a new training monoplane painted bright yellow arrived on the tarmac at Drem. As time went by, Victor Godard came to the startling conclusion that he'd, in fact, travelled through time. The hikers on Devil's Mountain. Resting on the border of San Pablo, there is a mountain referred to by locals living in the area as the Devil's Mountain. The mountain has been surrounded with a number of disappearances from hikers every single year that claims the lives of even the most experienced hikers in the region. One such story from the locals tells of that of a married couple that went on a hike to the mountain and stayed there for a few days. After they had met others and told them they would be taking a forked path, they were never seen from again, leaving many people wondering which path they had taken, since there seemed to have been no forked path in the area. This story would later come up once again after a group of boys went to the mountain on a hiking trip and came across a married couple that fit the look and description of the couple that had went missing a few years prior, and so followed the couple believing that they might be ghosts or strange manifestations of the lost couple. As they followed the couple, they witnessed them going down a forked path and so followed them, of which eventually led to them losing sight of the couple and sustaining injuries falling down an area of the mountain. This has led some to believe that the lost people of whom went hiking on the mountain are still there, stuck in a possible time loop or warped reality in which they are jumping through time and encountering other people of whom have went missing on the mountain years prior. These fears have left many, including experienced hikers, worried as to how or why these strange occurrences have been appearing on the mountain, and so leave many fearful of journeying through the region. Are shadow people time travelers? Shadow people sound a bit creepy, right? They are defined as supernatural shadow-like humanoid figures that, according to believers, are seen flickering on walls and ceilings in the viewer's peripheral vision. Shadow people are considered as entities of the underworld, but those who have experienced them are not sure whether they are evil, helpful, or just there. Scientists have tried to offer explanations for the phenomena. For example, some researchers conclude that seeing shadow figures are simply symptoms of sleep paralysis or deprivation, and others have noted that drug addicts are more likely to experience these sorts of hallucinations. Alternatively, they can simply be the mind playing tricks on somebody who's experiencing a heightened sense of alert, for example, when you're walking down a dark alley at night. However, some people are convinced that shadow people are actually apparitions of time travelers. They think that the reason that they are only in shadow form is because we, on Earth, can't clearly see the future and therefore find it hard to see these figures. Instead of being supernatural or devilish creatures, they are actually just people from other dimensions. They also don't seem to be taking any notice of the people that see them, therefore fitting in with the common time travel theme. Often when time traveling, the person experiencing it is not noticed by anybody else. The thing is, this is all heavily disputed, and the scientific explanations are well weighted in their favour. We'll never know for sure if shadow people are time travellers or not, or even real. But one thing is for sure: the human imagination is a powerful thing. The disappearance of Jean Virginia Sampere. British Columbia, Canada. Sometime around 10 or 11 p.m. on the 14th of October 1971. 18-year-old Jean Virginia Sampere was walking along Highway 16 with her cousin Alvin before he turned back to get a jacket from home. He believed she was going to a nearby shop, but upon his return to the highway, she was nowhere to be seen. Alvin reported hearing a car door shutting, but nothing else. Earlier that evening, Jean had been seen by her brother Rod's wife, Violet. Violet recounted that Jean had been at her mother's house, but had left crying. After attempting to go after Jean, Violet was stopped by Jean's mother, who told Violet that Jean would return. Jean was of Gitxsan descent. The Gitxsan were a First Nation, meaning south of the Arctic Circle, indigenous group. When Jean failed to return home that night, her mother reported her to the Jitsi-Jiyukla Indian band, who, due to protocol, waited for some time to report the disappearance to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. The search for Jean continued for 8 days, with police officers from other towns joining the search. Alas, despite tip-offs in larger cities such as Vancouver and Toronto, no trace of Jean was found. A 1971 report from the Jitsi Jayukla Band chief counselor determined that Jean had drowned, and the case was formally closed in 1985, only to be subsequently reopened after the family complained that there was no conclusive evidence that Jean had drowned. For Jean to have simply vanished was as alarming as it was strange, and subsequent events in the area fueled more sinister theories about the case. Her brother Rod alleged that he had seen files stating that a man named Kenny Russell had found some footprints near Jitsi Jayukla River. Although the footprints were never identified, this was the piece of evidence said to be behind the drowning theory. Rather mysteriously, Jean's boyfriend had gone missing soon before she disappeared herself, but was found drowned in the Skeena River nearby. The authorities initially thought that Jean may have committed suicide, but once again, this theory was dispelled as Jean was not known to be a suicide risk. The most chilling theory is that Jean was the second of the first 3 victims of the Highway of Tears, a stretch of Highway 16 where between 18 and 83 people have either gone missing or been murdered since 1970. This theory is supported by the car door noise her cousin heard on the night she disappeared. Worryingly, there is known to be disproportionately high numbers of murders and disappearances of Indigenous women on the victim list. Jean Virginia Samper may well have been number 2 on that list. The disappearance of Susan Pearson. In 1966, a woman by the name of Susan Elizabeth Pearson was last seen in Missoula, Montana, and has not been seen since. Miss Pearson, an American woman from Portland, Oregon, went missing due to mysterious circumstances. She had been a graduate student at the University of Montana and was teaching there as an instructor at the time of her disappearance, days before her doctoral thesis was due. She was last seen by her friends on campus, as she was meant to take her business administration exam but never arrived. Likewise, Susan missed 2 work checks meant for her adding up to $1,200, which were never claimed. Initial searches for the woman were futile, yet when the police checked her apartment, they found it in pristine condition, untouched with not a single sign of struggle. Her car was soon thereafter found completely abandoned in Missoula's business district. Her belongings were still in the car when the police checked it. They found her keys, purse, and other necessities inside, ones that any sane person would never leave unattended. Bones were found in 1970, but were analysed and found to be animal remains. Susan Elizabeth Pearson is one of the oldest missing persons cases Montana has had in the past century. Curiously, Ms. Pearson was the granddaughter of Walter Pearson, Oregon's Democratic senator. Susan King, who was one of Susan Pearson's friends and a prominent singer at a nightclub, told the police that she had visited her on the night before her sudden disappearance, and that Pearson was in a frantic, nervous state. It was just a different Sue, she had stated. A prominent piece of the puzzle was the information King also received. Pearson mentioned leaving her life behind to begin anew in her frantic state. Later, she added that 2 delinquent boys from the course she was teaching threatened her with physical violence. Pearson's brother, David, added that it appeared his sister rushed out of her apartment and the tea kettle was left to boil on the stove. Days after her disappearance, there was a report of a sighting in Lolo Pass, but evidence of her actually being there is non-existent. No further sightings were ever reported. The Buash map shows Antarctica without ice. For over 40,000 years, Antarctica has been covered by glaciers and snow, making it one of the most inhospitable places on the planet. The ice makes it impossible for Antarctica to be a home to any humans. However, there are some thinkers who believe this wasn't always so. The Buash map was drawn by French geographer Philippe Buache. Buache drew his maps by combining his geographic knowledge, research from contemporary explorers, and astronomical observation. The map he produced in 1739 was titled in French. However, when translated, it means Map of the Southern Lands contained between the Tropic of Capricorn and the Antarctic Pole, where the new discoveries made in 1739 to the south of the Cape of Good Hope may be seen. The biggest discovery on Buash's map was that it appeared to depict Antarctica before it was buried by ice, leading some explorers and geographers to use it as evidence that Antarctica was inhabited by an ancient civilization before being rediscovered in the 19th century. The most famous proponent of this theory was Charles Hapgood, who published Buash's map in his 1966 book Maps of the Ancient Sea Kings. However, the arguments of Hapgood and others have been met with criticism. Firstly, many argue that Hapgood did not take care in translating Buash's annotations on the map before publishing it, and if he had, he would have realized that Buash did not mean to depict an ice-free Antarctica. For example, there are multiple annotations over Antarctica on the map where Buash has written conjecturer and soupçonné, which translate as conjectured and suspected, showing Buash himself was not sure that human life could survive on Antarctica. What's more, the annotations also make frequent references to icebergs, freezing temperatures and glaciers over Antarctica. Icebergs are even drawn on the map. Therefore, for many, the argument that Buash was using the map to claim Antarctica was ice-free would be ludicrous. Secondly, two versions of Buash's map were created, one which shows Antarctica with ice and one without. This has led some to suspect that the latter version of Buash's map might have been drawn by another cartographer or even forged. Thirdly, there is every possibility that Buash was mistaken. Buash was a highly qualified man who was one of the foremost theoretical geographers, and a lot of deductions on his map have proved true. For example, the existence of Alaska and the Bering Strait. However, that is not to say his work was faultless. His map shows New Zealand as a peninsula of the Antarctic landmass and a central Antarctic Sea, both of which are incorrect. It's possible the map was drawn by Buash, but showing an ice-free Antarctica that could have housed an ancient civilization was just another mistake he made. The truth of the matter is, we will never know if Antarctica was once home to an ancient civilization. In some areas of Antarctica, there are 30 tons of ice weighing down on the land surface. If this ice were to be removed, the land would be so low that sea levels would immediately flood it. Frustratingly, this means there is no way to prove or disprove Buash's map and the theories that have come from it.